What happens when the world's most fragile ego finds the universe's ultimate weapon? He expected a Vought satellite. He expected a terrorist weapon. Instead, he finds a pod, a baby, with a tail. A baby smiling inside an alien pod. The moment Homelander lifts the child, the infant grabs his finger, and for the first time in years, Homelander genuinely smiles. For the first time in his life, Homelander feels something grab him.
You're not scared of me.
Good. You're mine now. Suddenly, the pod lights up with a harsh red laser, scanning Homelander from head to toe. A cold, mechanical alien voice echoes from the console. Target scanned. Threat level. Apex. Guardian protocol accepted. Conquest initialization beginning. This wasn't a rescue. It was the birth of a nightmare. Drop a comment if you're ready for the darkest timeline. The elevator doors open. Homelander steps out, cape folded over one arm, the other cradling a small bundle wrapped in a hospital blanket. No bodyguards, no press. The corridor is white and airless, lit by fluorescent strips that hum faintly, like something alive and uncomfortable. He doesn't look around. He already knows who's watching. Dr. Elena Marsh stands at the far end of the hall, clipboard pressed to her chest. She has been awake for 31 hours. Her shoes squeak on the tile as she walks toward him. She stops 4 feet away, which is the precise distance she has calculated feels safe. Dr. Marsh, we weren't told to expect a delivery. Homelander glances down at the bundle. The baby is asleep, tiny fist curled against its cheek. He looks back at Marsh the way someone looks at furniture they haven't decided where to put yet. Homelander. He was left. I found him. Now he's here. He places the child on the exam table as if setting down a crown. Marsh sits at her desk. The monitors in front of her are showing results. She has run 4 times now. She keeps running them. Each time, the numbers come back the same. She picks up her coffee, puts it down, picks it up again without drinking. The door opens. Stanley Edgar comes in without knocking, because he doesn't knock. He's reading a report as he walks, glasses low on his nose, unhurried, the way men are unhurried when they own the building. Edgar, talk to me, Elena. And please, skip the preamble. Dr. Marsh, no compound V, none, not a trace in his blood, his marrow, his mitochondria. Whatever he is, it isn't manufactured. Edgar stops walking. That's significant. He almost never stops walking. Edgar, and the cellular activity? Dr. Marsh limitless adaptation. I put stress markers in the sample, infection, radiation, blunt trauma at the cellular level, and watched what happened. The cells didn't just survive, they improved. It's as if the body reads damage as instructions. Edgar, quietly, what are we calling it? Dr. Marsh, the team has been calling him Project Sunborn. Edgar straightens. He turns toward the window that overlooks the nursery ward below. Through the glass, the baby, asleep in a bassinet, chest rising and falling. Edgar, I want every test we have. Muscle density, neural mapping, sensory threshold. I want to know his ceiling. The next morning, Homelander stands with his back to the room, hands clasped, looking down at the streets the way a man looks at something he owns. Edgar sits behind his desk. He has not offered Homelander a chair. Homelander hasn't sat down. Edgar, the science team needs 48 hours with the boy, controlled conditions. Nothing invasive to start. A pause. Homelander's reflection in the window doesn't move. Homelander, turning. I said no, Stanley. Something moves through Edgar's eyes, not fear. He is very careful never to let it be fear, but something adjacent to it. A recalculation. Homelander crosses to the desk slowly. His voice drops, which is somehow worse than when he raises it. Homelander. He looks at me. Do you understand what I'm saying? Every person I walk past, they flinch, they smile too hard, they say the right things in the wrong voice. But he looks at me like I'm the first thing he ever saw that made sense. He stops, presses his lips together. Something raw crosses his face, too fast to name, and then the mask slides back. Homelander, you put one needle in that child, and I will consider it a personal insult. And Stanley, you know what happens to things I take personally. He picks up his cape, walks to the door, pauses with one hand on the frame. Homelander. His name is Kale. He's gone. The door clicks shut. Edgar sits very still. Then he picks up his phone. 6 weeks later, The suite is all clean lines and American flags. Too many of them, in too many places, the way a person decorates when they're trying to remind themselves of something. A TV plays the news on mute. Homelander is on the floor, which he almost never is. Kale sits across from him, maybe 8 months old now. He's wearing a tiny white onesie with a small golden V stitched over the chest. Homelander had it made. He doesn't crawl yet. He just sits and watches. Homelander holds up a small American flag. Kale reaches for it. Homelander pulls it back, not cruelly but deliberately. Teaching, Kale's eyes track the motion, follow the pull, calculate. Homelander, quietly. Conversational. You don't reach for things. You make people want to hand them to you. There's a difference. Reaching makes you look like you need it, and we don't need anything, do we? Kale stares at him. His small mouth opens. He makes a sound, not a word yet, but the shape of one. Homelander smiles. It's the realest smile we've seen from him. It doesn't quite fit his face, like a word from a language he's only started learning. Homelander, good boy. He gives him the flag. Observation room. Nightmarsh stands at the one-way glass. On the other side, Homelander walks back and forth in the suite, Kale on his shoulder. The child's eyes are open. He's watching everything. Marsh's junior colleague, Dr. Rafi, steps up beside her. Dr. Rafi, what does he think he's doing? Dr. Marsh, raising him. Dr. Marsh, he's not raising a son. He's building a mirror, something that will look back at him and finally, agree with everything he's ever believed about himself. A beat. On the other side of the glass, Kale turns his head. His eyes land directly on the one-way mirror. On them, as if he can see straight through it. Neither doctor moves. Kale smiles. 15 years later, 8 screens. 8 stories tall. Every one of them showing the same face. A jaw cut like it was designed in a lab, because it was in every way that counts. Gold hair catching the morning light. Eyes so intensely blue, they read as unreal on camera. Which is exactly why Vought's marketing team spent 4 months selecting the right lens filter. He's 17. He looks like what every civilization has ever carved into stone and called a god. The screens read, Son Goku, the people's hero. This summer, below the screens, 30,000 people. They are screaming, not the frightened kind of screaming, the surrendered kind. The kind that happens when a crowd decides to stop being individuals. Goku drops from the sky. He doesn't land dramatically. He just arrives, feet on the pavement, hands in his jacket pockets, cape rippling as if the wind showed up specifically for him. He looks out at 30,000 people and smiles, slow, warm, effortless, the smile of someone who has been told since infancy that rooms belong to them. Goku, you didn't have to do all this. The crowd loses its mind. He tilts his head, almost shy, except his eyes aren't shy at all. His eyes are doing something else entirely. They are moving across the crowd the way a general reads a battlefield, counting, calculating, measuring the yield. In the press pen, Angela Cruise, senior journalist, 20 years in the field, seen everything. Lowers her camera. She watches him. She chews the inside of her cheek. Angela, under her breath to her photographer. Something's wrong with his eyes. Photographer. What? Angela. When he smiles, his eyes don't change, not even a little. The photographer looks up, looks at Goku, looks back at his camera, decides not to think about it. 1 hour later, the prep suite is all mirrors and ring lights. A makeup artist touches up Goku's collar. He sits perfectly still, the way only people who have been trained to sit still can manage. No fidgeting, no phone, no looking at himself in the mirror. Just waiting. A machine in standby. Ashley Barrett, Vought's head of communications, clipboard always in hand, always walking like she's already late for the next meeting, pushes through the door. Ashley, okay? Fallon tonight. Then the Times profile drops Thursday. The angle is humble origins. We're leaning into the mystery. No parents, found as an infant, raised by the program. The American dream, but make it cosmic. Goku nods once. Ashley, when they ask what drives you, what do you say? Goku, I just want to protect the people who can't protect themselves. Ashley, perfect. And if they push, if they ask about the Compound V rumors, Goku, I was born this way. I've never needed anything I didn't already have. Ashley writes something on her clipboard. The makeup artist steps back. Goku looks at his own reflection for the first time. Really looks the way you'd inspect a product before shipping it. He turns his head left, right. Satisfied. Not vain, not proud. Just satisfied. The way an engineer is satisfied when the machine is ready. Goku, they believe whatever they need to. That's what Dad always said. Give them something to believe in, and they'll fill the rest in themselves. Ashley looks up from her clipboard. Something in the way he said Dad sits wrong with her, too practiced, like a word he learned from a book. She decides not to think about it. In evening, Ryan Butcher sits on the couch. He is 16, dark-haired, and has the particular posture of someone who has been trying to take up less space for so long it has become structural. His hands are in his lap. His knee bounces once, twice, then he forces it to stop. On the television, footage from this morning. Goku landing in Times Square, 30,000 people, the smile. Homelander stands at the window. He is watching the footage, the way a father watches a child cross a finish line, chest forward, mouth slightly open. A look on his face Ryan has spent 4 years trying to earn. Homelander. Did you see the crowd response? 30,000 people. Not one of them was afraid. That's control. That's what real power looks like when they don't even know it's happening. Ryan looks at his father's back, then at the television, then at his own hands. Ryan. I stopped a car on the bridge today. Full speed. Nobody got hurt. A beat. Homelander glances at him. Brief. The way you glance at a notification you don't intend to open. Homelander. Good. He looks back at the screen. Ryan's jaw tightens. He swallows. His knee starts bouncing again, and this time he lets it. Ryan, would you have come? If something went wrong on the bridge? Homelander turns fully now. He studies his son for a long moment, genuinely puzzled, the way someone is puzzled by a question they find unnecessary. Homelander. Nothing was going to go wrong with you, Ryan. You're my son. Ryan, he's not your son and you'd have flown across the country for him. The room goes very still. Homelander holds Ryan's gaze for 3 full seconds. There is something in his expression. Not anger, not guilt. Something more like the discomfort of being handed a mirror you weren't ready for. Homelander. Kale understands what's required.
That's not a competition, Ryan. That's a lesson. Ryan stands. He doesn't say anything. He picks up his jacket from the arm of the couch and walks out.
The door closes, not slammed, which is somehow worse, just closed. Carefully, like he's been practicing not making noise for a long time. Homelander watches the empty doorway for a moment, then he turns back to the screen. Later that night. The corridor is empty except for the 2 of them. Fluorescent lights, no cameras, or so Ryan believes. Goku leans against the wall, arms crossed, watching Ryan work through a combat sequence against a reinforced dummy. Ryan throws a punch. The dummy barely registers it. He throws another. His form is good. His power is real, but he's holding something back. You can see it in his shoulders, the way they stay slightly raised, braced, as if he's always waiting to be told he's doing it wrong. Goku, you're pulling. Ryan. I know, Goku. Why? Ryan stops, turns. He and Goku look at each other across the corridor. 2 boys built from the same impossible bloodline, raised in the same impossible house, pointed in directions they've never been allowed to choose themselves. Ryan. Because last time I didn't. I hurt someone. Someone who mattered. Goku considers this. His head tilts. Not with empathy exactly. More with the focused curiosity of someone analyzing a variable they hadn't modeled. Goku. Did they matter? Or did you decide they mattered because you hurt them? Ryan stares at him. The question isn't cruel. That's almost what makes it terrible. It's genuinely curious. Goku wants to know. He doesn't understand why the answer would be different depending on the order of events. Ryan low. She was my mother, Kale. A silence, Goku's expression doesn't change. Not cold, just absent in the specific way that only someone who has never had a mother can be absent when the word is used. Goku, I know. I'm sorry, he says it correctly. Tone, timing, eye contact, all correct. Ryan searches his face for what's underneath it. Finds nothing. Not because Goku is hiding something, because there is genuinely nothing there to find. Ryan nods once, turns back to the dummy, throws the next punch without pulling. The dummy shatters. Goku watches, nods, pushes off the wall and walks away. As he turns the corner, his expression shifts, not into something sinister, but into something emptier, like a screen going dark when no one's watching. Above, Ohio, 6:42 p.m. The sky is that particular shade of early evening orange that makes everything look warm and safe and chosen. A commercial airliner, Flight 816, 211 passengers, one of whom is celebrating a birthday, begins losing altitude at 32,000 feet. The engine on the port side is gone. Not failing, gone. A catastrophic structural failure, and the plane is tipping, the horizon going diagonal through every window at once, and every single person on board understands in the wordless animal way that they are about to die. 7 screens, radar tracking. News helicopters already scrambling. Someone always has a camera. Ashley is on the phone. Her voice is rapid, controlled, the vocal equivalent of typing very fast. Ashley, he's 8 minutes out. Get the camera drone alongside, not ahead of him. Alongside, we need the profile shot as he makes contact with the hull. On one of the screens, a thermal tracker. A single brilliant white signature moving at unimaginable speed across the Ohio sky. Goku, open sky, 6:47 p.m. Goku arrives alongside the plane. He can hear everything inside it. 211 heartbeats, not one of them steady. He can see through the fuselage. A woman in row 14 is holding her daughter's face in both hands, pressing their foreheads together. A man in 22C is trying to call his wife, and the line won't connect. A child near the back has stopped crying and is simply staring at the window. Very still in that way. Children go still when they sense that adults have lost control. Goku does the math. He does it instantly, accurately, the way Homelander taught him to do it, not with heart, but with geometry. 211 people. Port engine destroyed. Structural integrity at. He scans the frame, 61% and falling. If he catches the nose and redirects, the tail section will shear. He can hold the nose, he cannot hold the tail. 17 people sit behind row 30. 17, he hovers. The camera drone is alongside him, exactly as Ashley ordered. Getting the profile shot, his cape moves in the slipstream. His face is composed, open, concerned, heroic, because this is what his face does when cameras are present, automatically. The way breathing is automatic, and he pauses. Not long. 2 seconds, perhaps 3, but 2 seconds at altitude with a failing aircraft is not nothing. He is not afraid. He is not frozen. He is calculating. He is deciding not whether to save them, but how many of them represent an acceptable loss. He is 17 years old and he is doing this calmly. He is doing this the way Homelander taught him. Saving everyone is impossible. Managing perception matters more. He moves, he catches the nose. He drives upward with everything in him, slowing the descent, angling for the flat farmland spreading beneath them. He shouts, not a warning, a broadcast, the voice carrying at superhuman volume. Gokuus, everyone brace, I have you. The plane hits the field, hard, bone-jarring, skidding, the fuselage screaming against soil. Goku's hands punch through the hull as he absorbs the impact, redirecting momentum, slowing, it stops. Dust, smoke, silence that is the specific silence of a crowd that isn't sure yet whether it's alive. Then sounds, coughing, crying, a baby wailing somewhere in the wreckage. Which means the baby is alive, which means lungs are working, which means the tail section is 40 meters behind the main fuselage. It's separated on landing. 17 rows. 17 people, moments. Later, Goku stands on top of the broken nose cone. 194 people are alive. The news drones are arriving in waves now, 6, 8, a dozen cameras. The sun is setting directly behind him, which is not an accident, because nothing about how Goku occupies space is ever an accident. A servivore stumbles out of the emergency exit. She looks up. She sees him standing there against the burning orange sky, and she starts to weep, the overwhelmed kind, the kind that is mostly relief and gratitude, and the shock of still being. Survivor, through tears. You saved us. Oh God, you saved us. Goku drops to the ground beside her. He puts one hand on her shoulder, looks into her eyes with an expression of complete, luminous compassion. The expression that will appear on the front page of every newspaper on Earth by morning. Goku, you're safe now. I've got you. She grabs his hand. He lets her hold it. Behind him, 40 meters back in the darkening field, the tail section is still burning. Nobody is walking out of it. Goku does not look back. Not because he can't bear to. Not because it haunts him. Because the cameras are in front of him. And he has already moved on. Saturday morning, a town of maybe 4,000 people. A barbershop with a hand-painted sign. A diner where the specials board is written in chalk that hasn't been erased since Wednesday. A kid on a bicycle. No helmet, standing on the pedals going downhill, arms out like wings, not because anyone told him to, not for a camera, just because the hill is there and the speed is real, and he is 7 years old and fully alive. Goku stands at the end of Main Street in a gray hoodie, hood up, hands in the front pocket, no cape, no logo. Nothing golden about him this morning, except what he can't help. The jaw, the posture, the way even ordinary clothes arrange themselves on him like they're grateful for the opportunity. He watches the kid on the bicycle reach the bottom of the hill, drag one sneaker to slow himself, laugh, genuinely privately, the kind of laugh with no audience in mind, and then push back up the hill to do it again. Goku watches him do this 3 more times. He doesn't move, his head tilts. Something happens in his face. Not a smile, not yet, but the muscles around his eyes loosen slightly. The way a fist doesn't open, but stops squeezing. He has stood in stadiums while 60,000 people chanted his name. He has felt the vibration of it in his sternum. He has been told that is what it means to matter. But the kid on the bicycle isn't chanting anything. He is just happy, for no reason that benefits anyone. He is happy because the hill is steep and the speed is real, and that's enough. A woman comes out of the diner carrying 2 paper bags. She nearly walks into him. Woman! Oh, sorry, honey. Wasn't watching where I... She stops, looks up at him. The hoodie doesn't hide much up close. Her eyes go wide. She recognizes him. And then she does something that no one in Goku's experience has ever done immediately after recognizing him. She laughs. A surprised, delighted laugh, as if she just found $20 in an old coat. Woman. Oh, my daughter is going to absolutely lose her mind when I tell her. She shifts both bags to one arm and holds out her hand. Not trembling, not performing, just a woman who wants to shake hands with someone interesting she bumped into on a Saturday. Goku looks at the hand. He has shaken 10,000 hands backstage at galas, at ribbon cuttings. He knows exactly how to do it. Firm, 2 seconds, eye contact. Let them feel chosen. Homelander drilled it into him like a combat sequence, but she isn't performing anything. She's just holding out her hand. He shakes it. Goku, I'm Kale. Woman, I know who you are. I'm Denise. She nods toward the diner. There is no ceremony in it. She holds the door open for him. A god walks into a diner in Ohio, sits in a vinyl booth and orders coffee. The biscuits arrive in 4 minutes. He eats the first one without putting it down. It is the best thing he has ever tasted, and he cannot explain why, and he doesn't try. Afternoon 3 weeks later, same hoodie, different town, same texture, neon signs and dusty windows, teenagers colonizing the corner booths, the antiseptic smell of carpet that hasn't been changed since 2003. Goku stands in front of a fighting game cabinet. On the screen, 2 pixelated warriors frozen at a title screen, waiting. A boy, maybe 13, backward cap, the particular brand of scuffed sneakers that says his parents love him, but they aren't rich, slides up beside him and inserts a quarter. Inging or just staring at it. Goku. I don't know how. Boy, already selecting his character. It's buttons, left, right, hit things. It's not complicated. Goku inserts a quarter, selects a character at random. The largest one on the screen, a mountain of a figure with arms like tree trunks, which the boy finds immediately funny. Boy, of course you pick him. The match starts. The boy demolishes him in 11 seconds. Goku stares at the game over screen. Goku. Again, he loses again. The 6th time, he lands a combo by accident. Button mashing through pure frustration. The character on screen doing something that looks almost intentional, and the boy takes a step back. Boy. Oh. Okay, there you go. The 7th match lasts 3 minutes and 12 seconds. Goku wins. narrowly. By 1 pixel of health bar, he turns to the boy, his hood has slipped back. He looks for the first time in the entire act like a teenager, just a teenager who won something small and feels enormous about it. Goku, I got you, boy, you got lucky. Run it back. Goku laughs. Not the controlled camera-ready version, the real one, which is shorter and more abrupt and completely unmanaged. It surprises him when it comes out. He covers it quickly, but the boy has already seen it and isn't worried about it at all. They play for 2 more hours. Goku is not the most powerful person in this building right now. He is just the guy who keeps picking the big character and losing gracefully, and he cannot stop smiling about it. On the CCTV camera mounted in the corner of the arcade, a small red light blinks steadily. It has been blinking since he walked in. Someone is watching the feed. Early morning. The gym is the size of a large living room. Exposed beams, a heavy bag in one corner that has been repaired so many times it looks like a patchwork quilt. The windows face east, and at 6 in the morning, the light comes through them horizontal and gold and lands on the mat like something left there on purpose. Master Sung is 68 years old and built like a man who has been doing one thing correctly for 50 years. He is sweeping the mat when Goku arrives, not because anyone asked him to, just because it's what you do before you begin. He looks up, registers Goku with the same expression he probably uses for weather reports. Master Sung, you're the one who called ahead. Goku, yes sir. Sung sets the broom against the wall. He walks a slow circle around Goku, studying him the way an old mechanic studies an engine, not impressed by the exterior, looking for what the exterior is covering. Master Sung, you don't need to learn how to fight. You could level this building by accident. Goku, I know. Master Sung, so what do you want? Goku stands in the gold morning light. He puts his hands in his pockets. He looks at the mat. He has spent 3 months visiting small towns and diners and arcades and street food markets and watched people exist without anyone watching them, and something has been growing in him like a splinter working its way out. Not painful yet, just present, just insistent. Goku, I want to know why it matters. The discipline, the restraint, the part where you hold back. I've been told holding back is weakness. I want to hear the other argument. Sung looks at him for a long time. Then he picks up the broom and hands it to Goku. Master Sung's sweep the mat. Goku, I didn't come here to. Master Sung, sweep the mat. Goku takes the broom. He sweeps. He does it too fast at first, efficient, impatient, the way Homelander moves through anything he considers beneath him. Sung watches, says nothing. After 2 minutes, Goku slows down. He can hear the bristles against the mat. He can hear his own breathing. He can hear the city outside, distant, going about its morning. He sweeps the whole mat. It takes 9 minutes. Master Sung, a man who knows he can destroy anything he touches, must choose every single moment not to. That choice made again and again, all day, all life, is not weakness. It is the only real discipline that exists. Anyone can hit hard. Only the strong can be gentle. Only the truly powerful can be still. Goku is quiet. He is looking at his hands, large, unmarked, capable of things most human minds can't fully picture. Master Sung power is not identity, son. What you can do has never once told you who you are. Only what you choose tells you that. The room is still. The light has shifted, higher now, less gold, more white. Goku doesn't speak for a long moment. When he does, his voice is quieter than it has been in any scene so far. Not performed quiet, actually quiet. Goku, what if who I am was decided before I could choose? Master Sung simply, then you choose now. That's all any of us ever do. Goku comes back the next morning, and the morning after that, he sweeps the mat every time without being asked. In the night, the room exists in perpetual blue, monitor light, no overhead, no windows. A gent Cole sits at the main console, a headset around his neck, a coffee going cold beside the keyboard. He has been doing this job for 2 years. He has learned to keep his reactions off his face. Homelander stands behind him. He has been there for 40 minutes. He hasn't sat down. He hasn't spoken. He watches the screens the way a man watches a fire he isn't sure he started, riveted, and very still, on one monitor. Archived footage. Goku in the diner, eating biscuits, laughing at something Denise said. On another, the arcade. Goku's hood down, his face open, winning one round of a fighting game and looking like it's the greatest thing that has happened to him in a year. On a third, a 6 in the morning gym, Goku on his knees sweeping a mat. Sweeping a mat. Homelander, quietly, first words in 40 minutes. Who is the old man? Cole, Sungwei, 68. Former Olympic coach, retired. No affiliation with any group we'd be concerned about. He teaches classes on Tuesday and Thursday mornings. 8 students, mostly kids. No record, no flag. Homelander nods slowly. His jaw moves slightly, not chewing, just working, the way it does when he's processing something he doesn't like. Homelander, how many times has he been there? Cole, 7. In the last 5 weeks. A silence. On the monitor, the archived footage loops. Goku sweeps the mat. The bristles move slowly. Goku's shoulders are down, not braced, not performing, just down, relaxed, in a way that Homelander watches with the particular attention of someone looking at a language they don't speak. Homelander, pull the gym's lease. I want it reviewed for code violations. Cole, sir, the building's relatively new. I don't think we'd find. Homelander, I didn't ask you to think. I asked you to pull the lease. Cole types. Homelander keeps his eyes on the monitor.
3 days later, the dining room is formal in the way things are formal when someone wants you to feel observed. White linen, a centerpiece nobody arranged warmly.
2 place settings, because it is always just the 2 of them when Homelander calls these dinners, and Goku has never once been allowed to bring anyone. They eat in silence for a while. Steak. Everything here is steak. Homelander cuts his methodically, each piece the same size, laid to the side of the plate in a row before he eats any of them. He has done this since Goku can remember. As a child, Goku used to watch and think it meant something profound. Now he isn't sure. Homelander, you missed the Meridian briefing. Goku, I was in Columbus. I sent the summary. Homelander, I know where you were. A pause. Goku sets his fork down. He looks across the table. Homelander is still cutting his steak, methodical even, but his eyes have come up from the plate and they are fixed on his son with an expression that is trying very hard to look like nothing. Goku, then say what you mean to say. Homelander sets his own cutlery down. He leans back in his chair. He looks at Goku the way he used to look at him when he was small, measuring, calibrating, except then it felt like pride, and now it feels like something with teeth in it. Homelander, you've been helping people, off camera. A family's car broke down on Route 9 last Tuesday. You stopped, fixed the axle, sent them on their way. No cameras, no press, nobody saw it. Goku, their daughter was crying. Homelander, that's not the point. Goku, what is the point? Homelander stands. He moves to the window. The same window he has always moved to when a room gets too real. The city glittering below, ready to agree with whatever he says. Homelander, you are not a good Samaritan. You are not a charity. You are the most powerful thing on this planet, and people need to know that. The moment they see you crawling around under a car on the side of the road, Goku, I wasn't crawling. I lifted the car, Homelander, turning. Don't do that. Goku, don't correct you? The temperature in the room drops by nothing measurable and everything felt. Homelander looks at him, and for the first time in this act, in maybe this whole story, he doesn't look like a father, or a commander, or even a god. He looks like a man standing at the edge of something he built and watching it lean away from him. Homelander, I raised you. I gave you everything I know. Everything. And you're out there letting some small town, some nobody, some old man in a gym. He stops himself. His hand closes around the back of a chair. His knuckles don't whiten. He controls that. But his fingers press in, finding purchase. Homelander, what has he told you? Goku is quiet for a moment. He picks up his fork, looks at it, puts it back down. Goku. That power isn't identity. The words land in the room like something dropped from a height. Homelander doesn't move, his face doesn't change, but something behind his eyes, some load-bearing thing shifts because he recognizes the shape of that sentence. He has heard its opposite every day of his life. From every person who built him and used him and put him in a cape and pointed him at the sky. And some buried, airless part of him, the part that still doesn't understand why no one just loves him, really loves him, without the uniform responds to it like a bruise being pressed. He covers it in under a second. You would miss it entirely if you weren't watching for it. Homelander, you won't go back there. Goku, you can't stop me, Dad. A silence so complete it has texture. Homelander stands at the window. The city glitters behind him, perfect and indifferent. He has been the most powerful person in every room he has ever entered. He has never had to consider that a room might one day contain something he couldn't overpower. He looks at the boy he raised, the boy who is bigger than him now, not just physically, in some way that Homelander can't name, and therefore cannot defend against. Bigger, he turns back to the window, picks up his wine glass, takes a sip. Homelander, I know. Goku sits with that for a moment. Then he picks up his fork. He eats. Homelander doesn't sit back down. He stands at the window for the rest of the meal, and Goku eats alone. And both of them know that something that cannot be unnamed has just been named, and that tomorrow everything will be different in ways neither of them is ready for. Eastern Europe, 2:14 a.m. The city is 300 years old, and it looks cobblestones. Buildings that lean into each other like exhausted men. A marketplace that sold bread this morning and now sells darkness. Rain. The fine, persistent kind that soaks through everything before you realize it has started. Goku crouches on a rooftop 6 stories above the street. Below him, a warehouse, lights on inside, 4 armed men visible through the skylight. The objective, a Vought data server stolen by a separatist cell, is somewhere in the northeast corner. Intel says 40 minutes in and out. Ashley scheduled a press briefing for 7 a.m. Eastern. The timing is already built around the assumption of success. Through his earpiece, Homelander's voice measured, unhurried, the way he sounds when he's already decided how everything will go. Homelander, earpiece, northeast structure. Server room is sub-level. You go in through the east roof access. You retrieve the drives. You leave. 30 minutes. Goku. There are people in the building next door, not militants. Families. Homelander. That's not the objective. Goku. I can see them through the wall. 2nd floor. Kids. Dad. At least 4. Homelander cutting across clean. That is not the objective. Northeast structure. 30 minutes. Go. The rain falls. Below. One of the guards moves, repositions, checks his phone, settles back against the wall. Normal human things. Normal human rhythms. Goku watches through the skylight and then through the adjacent wall and sees, in the building next door, a woman in a 2nd floor room tucking a blanket around a small sleeping shape. The child can't be more than 5. The woman moves quietly so she won't wake them. Her whole body is organized around not disturbing this child's sleep. He knows that gesture. He has seen it in Denise at the diner, in the people at the street markets. It is the gesture of someone who loves something small and is being careful with it. He has been trying to understand that gesture for months now. He has been learning what it means. Goku understood. He drops from the rooftop, goes in through the east access, moves fast, precise, silent. Every technique Homelander ever taught him, executed perfectly. He reaches the server room in 11 minutes, retrieves the drives. It is clean. It is professional. It is everything a Vought operation is supposed to be. He is in the stairwell on his way out when he hears it. Gunfire. Not from inside the warehouse, from next door. Second floor, 2:31 a.m. He is through the wall before he knows he has decided to move. The room is exactly as he saw it through the wall. A bed, a blanket, a child. The woman, the mother, is backed against the far wall. Hands raised, a man with a rifle standing between her and the door. Two more men behind him. One of them is already on his phone calling in a position. The child is awake now, sitting up in the bed. Dark eyes, enormous in the dim room. Watching everything with the particular stillness, Goku recognizes the stillness of a child who understands that the adults have lost control and that crying will make it worse. The child looks at Goku. Goku looks at the child. He is looking at himself. Not literally. The child is small and dark-haired and frightened and entirely human. The man with the rifle turns. He raises it toward Goku, says something in a language Goku speaks, because Homelander made sure he speaks 7, that roughly translates to, "You made a mistake coming here." Goku has the drives in his hand. The objective is complete. The exit is 40 feet behind him. Homelander is in his ear saying his name once, twice, not urgent, just precise, the way a commander says a name when they want to remind you of what you are. The man fires. The bullet hits the child. Not fatally, it catches the child's shoulder, a graze, but the sound the child makes is the sound of something innocent, meeting something that should never have been in the same room as it, and the mother screams, and the blanket goes red, and the child's dark eyes go wide and start to fill. Goku drops the drives. It starts in his hands. Not power, not yet. Something before power. Something older and deeper than training or technique or anything Homelander ever built into him. His hands are shaking, actually shaking, for the first time in memory, and the air around his skin begins to move without wind, disturbed by something radiating outward from his body the way heat radiates from asphalt in August. The three men feel it before they can name it. The one with the rifle takes one step backward. His instincts are smarter than his reasoning. His instincts are saying, leave. Goku turns to face them slowly. His face, usually so composed, so managed, the product of 17 years of controlled presentation, is doing something it has never done before in any camera shot, or press junket, or carefully orchestrated public appearance. It is crumbling, not into sadness, into something underneath sadness. Grief compressed into years of not being allowed to feel anything small. Now trying to exit through a body that was built to contain the weight of worlds, and finding that even that body isn't big. Enough. Homelander, Kale. Pick up the drives, walk out of the building. Kale. Goku reaches up and takes the earpiece out. He sets it on the floor, and then the light begins.
Karahan District, 2:33 a.m. It is not golden the way sunlight is golden. It is golden the way lightning is, violent, sourceless, present in the air before you see it coming.
It erupts from him in a column that blows the roof off the building cleanly and completely. Tiles and beams spinning outward in slow-motion arcs that catch the light and shimmer as they fall. His hair rises, not styled, rises, lifted by the field around him, each strand standing in the electromagnetic blast that is pouring out of his body the way sound pours from a struck bell. His eyes, when they open, are not blue anymore. They are teal, glowing, the color of something that has been burning for a very long time from the inside. He rises out of the building, not flying, not yet, more like the building has decided not to contain him anymore. 30 feet above the street, 50. The cobblestones below him crack in a ring outward from directly underneath, radiating like a dropped plate. He is not thinking. That is the most terrifying part. A thinking Goku is composed, managed, precise. This is something that has always lived underneath the thinking, something that was there before Homelander, before Vought, before the tower and the cape and the press briefings, something cellular, something ancient, The 3 men in the building below are gone. He moved too fast for cameras to capture it cleanly. The mother and child are outside. He moved them first, before the light, a split second of clarity in the storm, and now they are in the street 3 blocks away, and the mother is holding the child against her chest, not understanding what she is watching, but understanding very clearly that it is not human. Windows shatter for a quarter mile in every direction, not because of an explosion, because the sound of him is so complete and so fundamental that glass cannot hold its shape against it. Car alarms in 8 languages, dogs losing their minds, a flock of birds lifting from a park 2 miles away all at once, rising in a single dark cloud against the rain, flying away from something they cannot identify. He stays in the air for 3 minutes and 40 seconds. The golden light does not diminish. If anything, it grows, feeding on itself, on the rawness underneath it, on everything that was compressed and managed and performed for 17 years, suddenly having nowhere left to go. Then, slowly, not because he chooses to, but because his body reaches the edge of something and begins pulling itself back from the drop, it starts to fade. The light contracts, the wind dies. His hair lowers. He descends to the street, lands on the cracked cobblestones. His knees don't buckle, but his shoulders come forward, just slightly, and he stands in the rain with his head down and his hands open at his sides, and he breathes and breathes and breathes. He picks up the data drives from where they landed when the roof blew. They are intact. He tucks them under his arm. He walks to the edge of the street, sits on the curb, puts his face in his hands. Nobody approaches him. The entire district holds its breath. From 3 blocks away, the mother watches over the head of her child, who is watching Goku sit on the curb in the rain with his face in his hands. And the child says very quietly, in a language Goku can hear from here, chilled, barely a whisper, "Is he okay?" Goku does not answer, but his hands lower from his face, and he looks up at the sky, dark, rain-soaked, the gold completely gone now, and his eyes are blue again and wet and not managed at all. Vought, TOR 2:41 a.m. The room is so quiet you can hear the servers humming. Every monitor in the suite is showing the same feed. Drone footage, satellite, the news broadcast cutting in from 3 different Eastern European channels, all of them showing the same image from different angles, a column of gold light above a small city. Pulsing, impossible, real. Homelander stands in front of the largest screen. He has not moved in 4 minutes. His coffee is behind him on the console, going cold because he set it down when the light started and he forgot he was holding it. Edgar arrives at the door. He takes in the screens. He takes in Homelander. He closes the door quietly behind him and stands just inside it, because something about the quality of Homelander's stillness says, stay back. Edgar containment is all ready. Homelander, how many gigawatts? Edgar, we don't have a unit for it yet. The instruments that should measure it stopped functioning when he... Homelander, how many people saw it? Edgar, live footage across 11 countries. Social media clips already at 40 million impressions. It's everywhere. John. Edgar almost never calls him John. He only does it when he wants Homelander to feel like a person rather than an asset, which means he only does it when he needs something from the person and not the asset. Homelander's eyes stay on the screen. The footage is looping. The column of light, the cracked street, the boy descending, sitting on the curb in the rain. He watches it loop. He watches it loop again. He knows what this feeling is. He has felt it before, with Soldier Boy in the compound, when he first understood what Soldier Boy had been. With Stillwell, when she reached up and touched his face, and he finally understood that tenderness could be a weapon too. With Ryan, on the roof in the dark, watching his own child look back at him without fear, and knowing the look would eventually become something else. He has felt it every single time he has built something and watched it begin to exceed him. The particular cold panic of a man who needs to be the ceiling, and has just discovered the ceiling has moved. He picks up his coffee, drinks it cold without reacting. Homelander, very quiet. Pull the gym's lease. Edgar, you already asked for. Homelander, don't pull it. I want the old man brought in, quietly. Frame it as a consult. Make it feel like an honor. Edgar makes a note. He knows better than to ask what happens after the consultation. Homelander, and get me every piece of footage from tonight. Every angle. Every clip. Buy it all. I don't want the world seeing that again before I decide what they're allowed to think it means. Edgar, some of it is already. Homelander. Then buy the people who have it. He turns away from the screen, walks to the door, stops with one hand on the frame. The exact same way Goku stood in his office in Act 1, the mirror now running both directions. Homelander. I taught him everything I know. And it wasn't enough to contain him. He says this the way a man says something that he already knew was true and has been arguing against in private for a long time. He says it like a defeat dressed up as an observation. He leaves. The screens keep looping. Edgar stands in the blue light of 40 million impressions and looks at the boy on the curb in the rain, head down, shoulders forward, hands open, and thinks about what it looks like when something becomes too large for the container that built it. He thinks about what Homelander does to containers. He picks up his phone. Edgar, into phone, walking out. Get me legal. And get me a very good PR team who knows how to make a disaster look like a miracle. We have about 12 hours before this becomes something we can't shape. Start shaping it now. The door closes. The screens loop. The boy on the curb in the rain looks up at a sky he just cracked open. And somewhere in the 40 million clips replicating across the world, in the comment sections and the breaking bulletins and the government briefings being called in 11 countries at 3 in the morning, the question is already forming. Not, what is he? Vought Tower night. The suite looks different tonight. It always looks the same. The flags, the clean lines, the city through the glass. But tonight it looks the way a stage looks when the audience has gone home, like something that was built to be seen and is now just sitting there, unconvincing, in the dark. Goku stands in the center of the room. He is not wearing the cape. He came here in civilian clothes, a plain shirt, jeans, and that deliberate absence of the costume is the first thing Homelander notices when he walks in, and it makes something in his jaw tighten before he has time to prevent it. Homelander sits. He leans back in the chair with one ankle crossed over his knee, the posture of a man who is entirely relaxed, which means he is not relaxed at all. He looks at his son across the room. His son who is taller than him now. His son who broke the sky over Karahan 3 weeks ago and is standing here without an apology and without the cape and waiting.
Homelander, you scared them, you know? Not just the city, Vought. The governments, all of it.
They're talking about you in rooms that don't have your name on the door yet, and they will. Eventually, if you let me manage this correctly. Goku. I'm not here to talk about management. Homelander. Then what are you here to talk about? Goku looks at him. He takes his time with it. The way Sung taught him to take time with things. To let silence be a room you can stand in without needing to fill it. Goku, you used to tell me humans were weak. That they needed to be managed. That caring about them individually was a failure of perspective. Homelander. It is. You've seen what they do when they think you're one of them. They use you. They ask things of you. They take and take and... Goku, Denise gave me biscuits. A pause. Homelander, what? Goku, a woman in Ohio. I walked into her diner and she gave me biscuits because she could tell I hadn't eaten and she didn't want anything from me. She just gave them. And I've been inside stadiums with 60,000 people chanting my name and nothing has ever felt like that. That's what you took from me. The possibility that something could just be given. Homelander's ankle comes down from his knee. He sits forward. The easy posture is gone, not angry yet, but the distance between him and anger is getting shorter. Homelander, I gave you everything. Every skill, every instinct, every lesson. Goku, you gave me your damage. That's not the same thing. Homelander stands. He crosses to the window. The window, always the window, the city that agrees with him, and stands there with his back to the room. Homelander, they will betray you. Every single one of them. The woman with the biscuits, the old man in the gym, the boy in the arcade, the moment they feel threatened by what you are, they will turn. I have lived this. I am the evidence of it. Goku, maybe they turned because of how you treated them before they had the chance to. Homelander's hand at his side closes into a fist, opens, closes again. Homelander, turning, the warmth gone now, something roar underneath. You are my son. Whatever you think you've found out there, in those diners, in those gyms, you are mine. I made you. I chose you when I didn't have to. I protected you when the whole company wanted to put you on a table and take you apart. That has to mean something. The room goes quiet. Goku looks at his father. Really looks, the way you look at something when you're trying to see it clearly for the last time before a decision is made. He sees the cape. He sees the jaw, the posture, the architecture of a man who was built by the same industry that built him, in a different era, with no one to show him a single alternative. He sees underneath all of it someone who is desperately, achingly, entirely alone and has no language for it except control. Goku, did you ever love me, or did you love what I could become? The question lands. Homelander doesn't answer immediately. He stands at the window and the city glitters behind him and he does not answer. And the silence stretches 1 second, 2, 5, and his face does something it has almost never done in front of another person. It loses its architecture, not into rage, into something underneath rage that has never had a name because he has never let it stay on the surface long enough to need one. His eyes fill. He blinks it back in under a second, reassembles, but Goku saw it, and Homelander knows Goku saw it. And that being seen at the exact moment he cannot manage himself is the thing that finally shifts the temperature of the room from conversation to something that requires more sky. Goku, Dad, Homelander. Don't call me that right now. He turns away. His laser vision, involuntary, a tell he has never fully controlled, scores 2 thin red lines across the floor at his feet. The carpet smolders. He walks out through the balcony doors into the night sky. Up. Goku stands alone in the suite for a moment. The carpet is still smoking. He looks at the 2 thin lines in the floor, the truest thing in the room right now, and he follows. New York City, 11:58 p.m. They meet above the city at 3,000 feet. The clouds are low tonight, dense, dark, the kind that have been building all day and now sit over Manhattan like a held breath. Below them, the city grid, 8 million lives, all their lights on, all of them entirely unaware that the 2 most powerful things on the planet are about to decide something directly above their heads. Homelander hovers, cape moving in the wind that doesn't exist up here until he makes it. His eyes have gone to that color, the one that precedes the laser, and his jaw is set and his fists are at his sides, and he is, in this moment, every inch the thing Vought spent 40 years building. Goku faces him across 30 feet of dark air, no cape, still the plain shirt, hair beginning to lift, not golden yet, just disturbed, the electricity in him feeling the proximity of conflict the way it felt, the proximity of grief in Karahan. Homelander, come home. We fix this quietly. You go back on camera. We release a statement about Karahan. Controlled narrative, heroic intervention, some civilian casualties. Regrettable, but Goku, no. Homelander. Then what? You go live with the old man in his gym. You eat biscuits in Ohio and stop a car on a bridge and pretend that's enough for something like you. Goku, I don't know yet, but it's mine to figure out, not yours. Homelander moves first. The laser hits Goku in the chest and drives him backward through 3 cloud layers, and the sonic boom arrives on the ground below a second later. Car alarms, windows flexing, a tremor felt by. A seismographs as far as New Jersey, which will spend the next 3 days trying to categorize it. Goku reorients, comes back. He does not fire energy. He hits Homelander physically, fist to jaw, and the crack of it splits the sky in a radius of half a mile, and 3 news helicopters immediately turn toward the sound. The clouds above them are gone, not dispersed, gone. The shockwaves from impact having cleared the sky in a perfect circle 2 miles across, revealing stars that haven't been visible above Manhattan in decades. Below, 8 million people are recording it on their phones. The feeds are live. The world is watching 2 gods dismantle the sky over the most photographed city on Earth. Homelander lands a strike that sends Goku into the East River. The impact throws a column of water 100 feet high. Goku rises from it, soaked, breathing hard, eyes beginning to glow, and for the first time in the fight he lets the gold start. Not fully. He is choosing this time. He is letting in exactly as much as he needs. That choice, the discipline of it, the restraint, the lesson from a clean gymnasium floor at 6 in the morning is visible in his face, which is not crumbling now. It is still focused. The way the mat looked after it was swept. He rises out of the river and looks at Homelander across the burning air between them. His voice, when he speaks, carries without effort, heard in the helicopters, on the live feeds, in every bar and living room and phone screen where the world is watching. Goku, not a shout, a statement. I don't want to hurt you, but I'm not coming back. This is the last time I'm saying it. Homelander looks at him across the dark water. He is bleeding from his lip, an injury so rare for him that he raises one hand and touches it and looks at the red on his fingers as if the concept requires processing. He laughs. Short, incredulous, the sound of a man at the absolute edge of something. Homelander, you hit me. You actually. He looks at the blood again, then at Goku, and something in his face shifts. Through the rage and the fear and the wound of that question he still hasn't answered, into something almost like wonder. The specific wonder of a man who built something and watched it surpass him and is standing at the impossible intersection of pride and devastation. He breathes. He breathes again. He fires. Manhattan rooftop, Ryan. Butcher is standing on a rooftop 16 blocks south of the battle. He has been here for 22 minutes. He came without telling anyone. He is wearing his own civilian clothes, dark jacket, hands in pockets, and he is watching the sky, the way you watch something you don't fully understand, but cannot look away from. His knee is not bouncing. For the first time in this entire story, his knee is completely still. He watches his father and his brother tear the sky apart above the city his father has claimed for 20 years. He can hear every impact. His ears are superhuman, and the battle is only 16 blocks away, and each collision arrives as a pressure in his chest. Concussive, physical, like being stood next to a speaker that is playing a frequency designed specifically to destabilize you. He could go up. He is fast enough. His power, since he stopped pulling, is more than he has ever let Homelander see. He has been sitting on it the way you sit on a secret, not out of strategy, but out of the particular self-erasure of someone who learned early that being too much caused problems. He watches his father drive Goku into the river, watches Goku rise from it, watches the gold beginning. He thinks about his mother. He thinks about the specific way she used to push his hair back from his forehead when she thought he was asleep. He thinks about Homelander standing at the window watching footage of Goku in Times Square, with that look on his face, the look Ryan spent 4 years trying to earn. He thinks about Goku in the training corridor saying, "I'm sorry," in exactly the right tone with exactly nothing behind it. He thinks about the dummy shattering. He thinks about Goku fixing a broken axle on Route 9 because a child was crying, and not for a camera, and not because it served a narrative, just because the child was crying and the car was broken and he could fix it. He thinks about what it would mean to choose. Above him, Homelander fires again, a sustained laser burst that scores across the sky in a burning red line, and Goku absorbs it and the golden light flares so bright it bleaches the cloud circle. White. And 16 blocks south, Ryan covers his eyes with one arm, and when he lowers it, the decision is already made. It was probably always already made. He was just waiting to understand it. He goes up. At New York City, Homelander sees him coming first. His expression does something complicated. There's the reflex of pride, which is always the first thing, and then behind it the calculation, which is always the second thing, and then behind that, something that might be dread if Homelander had ever let himself feel dread long enough to recognize it. Ryan stops in the air between them. Not beside Homelander, not beside Goku. Between, he is holding the space. He looks at his father. "Ryan, stop." Homelander says, "Ryan. This isn't Ryan. I know what it is. I've been watching you do this my whole life. Anyone who gets too close or gets too strong or stops agreeing, you find a way to end it. Soldier boy. Stillwell. Me. You were starting to do it to me too, and you didn't even notice." Homelander's jaw tightens. He looks at Ryan, his actual son, his biological son, the one who carries his blood, and there is something in his expression that is not anger and is not dismissal. It is the particular pain of someone being accurately described by a person they cannot invalidate, and not knowing what to do with the accuracy. "Homelander, I have always protected you. Ryan, you protected your idea of me. That's different." He turns to Goku. They look at each other, the two sons, different in almost every way. Made from the same impossible material, raised in the same impossible house, standing now on opposite ends of their divergence. "Ryan, you're not the brother I wanted. You know that. Goku, I know. Ryan, but you're trying, And that's something he never taught either of us. He turns back to Homelander, faces him fully, in the open sky, in front of every camera below, in front of every live feed and news helicopter and government satellite that is watching this rooftop argument conducted above the most surveilled city on Earth. Ryan, I'm not choosing him over you. I'm choosing something that isn't this. I'm choosing something I haven't figured out yet. But I can't do that from inside whatever you need me to be. Homelander looks at Ryan, then at Goku, then back at Ryan. He has built his entire existence on the premise that he is the thing people cannot leave. That the gravitational pull of what he is, the power, the image, the cape, the idea of him, is sufficient to keep anything in orbit. He has watched that premise disproven, again and again, by person after person. And each time he has responded with the only tool he has, more force, more control, more certainty. He is looking at two people he cannot force, cannot control, cannot perform certainty at. And they are both looking back at him with the same expression. Not hostile, not triumphant, just clear. And the clarity is the thing that undoes him, because clarity does not argue back, and he has spent his whole life needing something to fight. His laser vision fires. Involuntary a tell, always a tell. Two thin lines into the empty air beside him. He catches it, stops it. His shoulders drop by perhaps 2 degrees. Nobody watching the news feeds will catch that 2 degrees, but Goku catches it, and Ryan catches it, because they both grew up in the same room with the same man, and they both know that 2 degrees is everything. Moments later, Homelander is alone in the sky. Goku descended 20 minutes ago. Ryan went with him, not touching, not talking, just parallel. 2 figures going down through the cleared circle of sky, while the cameras tracked them and the world watched. They landed in the street below and walked, side by side, away from the camera lines towards something that hasn't been named yet. Homelander is still at 3,000 feet. He hasn't moved. The stars are still visible through the cleared clouds. The circle he and Goku blew open an hour ago, still there, the sky not yet reassembled over the city. He looks up at them. He is not performing anything right now. There are no cameras at this altitude, or if there are, he doesn't care about them, which is something that has never happened before in his adult life. He looks at the stars and he thinks about a boy who was brought to a laboratory in a hospital blanket and looked up at him and didn't flinch. He thinks about the first time he held him, the specific weight, the specific warmth, the specific silence of something that had no opinions about him yet. He thinks about the sweet and the flag on the onesie he had made, and the window where he held him up and showed him the city, as if to say, all of this, as if to say, yours. He thinks about the question that is still sitting in his chest unanswered, because there was no answer he could give that wasn't either a lie or an admission, and he has spent 17 years being neither. Did you ever love me? Or just what I could become? He presses his lips together. His eyes fill again, for the second time tonight, for the second time in longer than he can remember, and this time there is no one to hide it from, so he doesn't. He stands in the open sky, 3,000 feet above the most powerful city on Earth, and he cries, not loudly, not dramatically. Just his face doing what it has been trying to do for 17 years and never been permitted. After a while, he wipes his face with the back of his hand. He straightens. He looks down at the city, the lights still on, the grid still ordered. 8 million lives going about the business of being human underneath him. He doesn't descend. He stays in the sky for a long time, looking down at the world he built himself to stand above, and for the first time in memory he cannot think of a single thing to do next. Below him, in a street 16 blocks south, 2 brothers are walking. They are not talking. They don't need to yet. One of them is beginning to understand what it means to choose. The other is beginning to understand what it means to be chosen. Neither of them looks back. Above them, the stars, visible over Manhattan for the first time in 40 years. Below them, the world. Ahead of them, everything neither of them was built to understand, which means everything that might actually be theirs. 6 months later since the sky broke over Manhattan. 6 months since 2 brothers walked away from the cameras, and one god stayed in the sky and cried where no one could see him. The world moved fast, the way the world always moves fast when something unprecedented happens and needs to be filed into a category before breakfast. Governments convened, treaties were proposed. A congressional subcommittee coined the term Class Zero superpowered entity. And nobody laughed because there was nothing funny about the math behind it. Goku testified. 3 hours, live. Every camera in the world pointed at a boy in a plain shirt, who answered every question with the careful precision of someone who has recently learned the difference between truth and performance and is still deciding which one costs more. He was not charged with anything, because nobody has written the law yet that applies to someone like him, because the people who write laws are afraid of him. Because Vought's legal team was in the room, which tells you everything about whose asset he still is, even after everything. He moved into a building in Brooklyn, ordinary block, 4th floor, a fire escape that faces east and catches the morning light at an angle that reminds him of Sung's gym. He swept the apartment floor the first night he moved in without thinking about it. He stood with the broom afterward and looked at the clean floor and thought about an old man who is no longer in his gym because Vought pulled the lease 2 months ago. Quietly, legally, completely. He thought about that for a long time. He is thinking about it now, sitting in the Vought boardroom, in the chair at the head of the table. The chair that used to be Edgar's, before Edgar resigned, before the board discovered that Edgar had been managing Homelander for 30 years through a system of emotional manipulation so sophisticated, it had its own internal codename, and looking at the 12 people arranged around him who need him to make a decision. Ashley, the Homelander situation has been, the board has made its recommendation. The threat assessment from State is clear. He's been destabilizing since Manhattan. 3 incidents in the last month that we've successfully buried, but the 4th one, whenever it comes, we won't be able to. Goku, what are they recommending? Ashley sets her clipboard down. That she sets it down voluntarily without being asked, is the first time that has happened in the 7 years she has carried it. Ashley, permanent containment, or termination. Those are the 2 options they've put forward. And they've made clear that if you won't, that they'll find another way. But you're the only thing capable of. Goku, I know what I'm capable of. He stands. He straightens his jacket. He walks to the window, not Homelander's window, a different window, a boardroom window facing north, and looks out at the city. He stands there for a long time. Nobody speaks. Goku, give me a week. It looks almost exactly like his old suite. Same clean lines, same flags. Someone put flags in, which is either cruel or kind, and Goku hasn't decided which. The window is false, a screen playing a live feed of the city outside, because someone decided that was better than a wall, and they were probably right. Homelander is standing at it when Goku arrives. Of course he is. He has aged in 6 months in a way that has nothing to do with biology. He looks the same. The jaw, the posture, the architecture. But something inside the architecture has shifted, the way a building shifts when a load-bearing wall is removed, still standing, aware on some cellular level that it should not be. Goku sits. He doesn't wait to be invited. He pulls a chair out and sits in it the way Sung sat across from him on the mat, hands on knees, back straight, present. Goku, I'm not here to tell you what they've decided. You already know. You heard it through the wall 3 days ago and you haven't slept since. Homelander doesn't turn from the window. Homelander, have you made your decision? Goku, not yet. That's why I'm here. A long silence. The false window plays the city. A taxi turning a corner. A couple walking a dog. A food cart with steam rising from it in the cold. Small, ordinary, entirely real things happening in a feed that looks like a window. Homelander, you came to ask me something. Goku, I came to give you the chance to answer what you didn't answer in the suite. Before Manhattan, Homelander turns from the window. He looks at Goku, his son, his creation, the thing that exceeded him, the thing that is now sitting in the chair where decisions get made. His eyes move across Goku's face, the way they moved across it 17 years ago in a laboratory corridor when the baby looked up and didn't flinch. He crosses the room. He sits down across from Goku, not in a power position, not strategically, just sits, the way a man sits when he is too tired to sit any other way. Homelander, both. The answer is both. I loved what you could become because I loved you, and I couldn't separate them. I never learned how I didn't know the difference was supposed to exist. He looks up. His eyes are clear in the way eyes are clear when there is nothing left to protect behind them. Homelander, nobody ever loved me without wanting something from it. So I didn't know how to do it differently with you. I only knew how to build things, and I built you the only way I knew how to build anything, in my own image. Because that was the only template I had. Goku sits with this. He does not rush toward it or away from it. He lets it be in the room. Goku, no. Homelander, is that enough? Goku looks at him for a long time. His father, the man who held him up to a window and showed him a city as if to say, yours. The man who taught him that humans were weak and power was identity, and the crowd's love was the only love worth having, and every single lesson was wrong, and also the most honest thing anyone had ever given him, because it was all Homelander actually had to give. Goku, it doesn't change what I have to do. Homelander nods. Once, slowly. Homelander, I know. They sit across from each other in the false window light for a while. The city plays on the screen, the taxi, the dog, the steam from the food cart. Neither of them speaks. There is nothing left to say that hasn't already been said or will never be sayable, so they just sit, father and son, in a room built to contain one of them, while the other decides it is the closest thing to a real conversation they have ever had. Rooftop, early morning, 4 a.m. The city is in its quietest hour. Not silent, never silent, but quieter, the way a breathing thing is quieter when it is deepest into sleep. Goku stands on the roof and looks east at a sky that is thinking about becoming morning. Ryan finds him there. He always finds him. Some frequency between them. Not warmth exactly. Not yet. But recognition. The specific recognition of two people who came from the same impossible place and are still working out what to do with the distance between where they started and where they are. Ryan sits on the roof ledge. His legs hang over the edge. 12 stories. Nothing to him. He looks at the sky. He does not ask Goku what he's decided because he already knows. He has known since the boardroom meeting he was not invited to, which he attended anyway through the ventilation system because Homelander taught him that too, along with everything else. Ryan, to the sky. You're going to do it. Not a question. Goku. He'll never stop. Every incident they've buried, he's getting louder, not quieter. And containment isn't. Ryan, I know I'm not arguing. I need to hear you say it. A pause. Goku looks at the eastern sky. The dark edge of it is beginning to separate from the horizon. Barely. Just a difference in the quality of the dark. A suggestion of what's coming. Goku, I'm going to do it. Ryan nods. His hands are on the ledge on either side of him. Fingers curled around the concrete. He stares at the space between the buildings across the street. The sliver of sky visible there. The one star still visible in the pre-dawn gray. Ryan, he told me once, when I was maybe 9, that being alone at the top is what proves you belong there. That if you needed people around you, that was weakness. That real power was self-contained. He pauses. Ryan, I spent years trying to figure out if that was true. Now I think he believed it completely. And I think it was the saddest thing he ever taught me. Because he built his whole life on it, and it left him with nothing but rooms and windows and people who were afraid of him. Goku, after a moment, he wasn't wrong that the top is lonely. He was wrong about what you're supposed to do about that. Ryan, what are you supposed to do about it? Goku looks at Ryan, his brother who is not his brother, who is sitting on a ledge at 4 in the morning having chosen something without a name yet, which is the same thing Goku is doing, which means they are doing it together even if they never use that word. Goku, come down from the ledge. Ryan looks at him, then he swings his legs back over the ledge and stands on the roof. They stand side by side looking east as the sky begins, very slowly, very seriously, to become morning. Goku comes in alone. Homelander is at the false window again, watching the city feed, the morning light on the screen making the false city look almost warm. He doesn't turn around. He knows the sound of Goku's step, the way you know the sound of something you built. Homelander, to the window. I used to stand at the real one for hours, just looking down, thinking about how far I could see, how much of it was mine. He pauses. Homelander. I never once thought about what the city felt like looking back up at me. Goku stands behind him. He does not move. His hands are at his sides. Open. He is not performing anything. There is no audience. There hasn't been an audience in this room since the night they sat across from each other, and Homelander answered the question. Goku, I thought about what you told me once, when I was small, that I shouldn't reach for things, that I should make people want to hand them to me. Homelander, quietly. I remember. Goku. There's a woman in Ohio who gave me biscuits. She didn't make me earn them. She just gave them. Because I looked like I hadn't eaten, and she had food, and that was the whole logic of it. That's what I've been trying to learn to do for people. Not because it's strategic, just because I have something and they need it, and that should be enough. Homelander is quiet for a long time. When he finally speaks, his voice is smaller than it has ever been in the entire story. Not weak, just reduced to its actual size, which was always smaller than the cape suggested. Homelander. That's a good way to live. Goku. I know. He steps forward. He places one hand on Homelander's shoulder. The first time he has touched him willingly without it being combat. The first time in the whole story that the touch is just a touch. Homelander's hand comes up and covers it. Briefly, presses once. He lets go. Goku's eyes go teal. Not rage, not grief. Something precise and final and chosen. The way everything Sung taught him to do was chosen. It is over in a moment. It is the most merciful thing that has happened in this story. It is also the worst thing. Both of those things are true at the same time, and the story does not resolve that tension, because some things are not resolvable, only endurable. 18 months later. The suite looks different now. The flags are still there. Goku kept the flags. He told himself it was because they were already there, which is true, but he hasn't taken them down, which is also true, and the gap between those two truths is the size of something he hasn't looked at directly yet. The city is below, lit and glittering, exactly as it has always been. Goku stands at the window. His hands are clasped behind his back. His cape, the new one, designed by Vought's team, golden rather than red and blue, moves slightly in the air conditioning the way it is designed to move, because every element of his public presentation is designed, has always been designed, is being designed right now in a suite 3 floors down by a team of 17 people. He has been standing at this window for 40 minutes. He knows this because he counted. Ashley knocks, enters without waiting. She never waits anymore. Not since he told her not to. Not since she learned that telling him things quickly is better than making him send for them. She is carrying a briefing folder. Her clipboard is in her other hand. She looks at his back, and something about the angle of his shoulders at the window makes her pause for a fraction of a second. A hesitation so small it would not register on any camera before she continues. Ashley, the Senate hearing is rescheduled for Thursday. The Millhaven situation has been managed. The story won't run, and there's a request from the mayor's office about the fundraiser. They're asking if you'll Goku, not turning from the window, handle it. Ashley, of course. Also, there's a Dr. Rafi from the science team asking about scheduling the next. Goku, tell him I'll review the proposal. Ashley makes a note. She glances at him once more. The window, the posture, the cape, and then she leaves. The door clicks shut. Goku stays at the window. Below him, the city, 8 million lives. Their lights on. Not one of them afraid tonight, which is Goku knows, partly because they trust him, and partly because they don't fully understand what they are trusting. And he has not corrected that. Misunderstanding, which is the same as cultivating it. His phone buzzes. Ryan, he looks at the screen. He doesn't answer it. He puts the phone face down on the windowsill. He looks back out at the city. His city. He didn't choose that word just now. It arrived on its own, the way words arrive when they have been waiting long enough. His city, that's what it is. He straightens his cape. He moves it back from his shoulder with one practiced motion, the same motion, performed the same way, at the same angle, because Vought's team identified it in year 1 as the highest engagement, visual, and it has been in the style guide ever since. He presses his palm against the glass and looks down. He will find it again tomorrow. He tells himself. He has been telling himself that for 11 weeks. Exext, New York City. Dawn, the last shot, the city, from above. The grid of it, the lights of it. The 8 million small lives of it, all of it spread out below a tower that catches the first light of morning and throws it back at the sky like a declaration. At the window, a figure. Golden cape. Hands clasped, looking down from this height, from this angle. You cannot tell who it is. That is the point. That has always been the point. The world wanted a god. It built one. Then it built another. The second one tried harder. That was the only difference. In the end, it wasn't enough.